Kash Patel was on Capitol Hill today, once again defending his work on the job. This time he sat before the Senate Appropriations Committee and basically continued to showcase his incompetence.
Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. Is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
Your job is to be reachable. And I know Senator Van Hollen asked you about this, but I got to say, if you want to pass out liquor or pop bottles in a locker room, stick to podcasting.
Are you willing to take the test, that it's called the audit test, that members of our active duty military and others take to determine whether they have a drinking problem?
I'll take any test you're willing to take.
I will take it, Director Patel. I'll take it. You ready to take it?
Let's go.
Yes or no?
Let's go. Side by side.
Joining me now, Senator Chris Van Hollen, a Democrat of Maryland, who you just heard questioning Patel about his drinking. And Senator, you seem game for that. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. And I will say I didn't actually realize such a test existed until today. Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, Chris, I asked the director of the FBI. He said he'd do it, and I'm going to follow up with him. Look, what we witnessed today was the latest in a long line of abuses by this FBI director, right? He's fired people for purely political reasons, longtime professional FBI agents. He's concocted this, made-up new, assault against Comey with respect to the case, the political prosecution. And now we have all these reports from multiple sources that he drinks so heavily that it interferes with his job. As I told him today, I don't give a damn about his personal life until it interferes with his ability to protect the American people. So there you have it.
I was struck every time I've watched him, whether he's in the locker room of the hockey game or speaking off the cuff at a hastily called press conference for the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, for instance, by just how strangely unprofessional his just general comportment, demeanor, mien is. And that seemed to be the place today. I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of sins, maybe that's minor, but he does not. Are you struck by that as well, I guess would be my question.
Completely. I mean, it's very revealing when he gets in front of a hearing like that. I asked him a series of questions about this credible reporting about how his excessive drinking is making it impossible for him to do his job. Reports that his security detail had to forcefully enter his house to wake him up. And it was really an opportunity for him to respond. And instead, what he did was decide to lash out at me. He uttered a bunch of provable lies. And this is coming from the FBI director. And then at the end of the hearing, Chris, I asked him if he realized that it was a criminal offense to lie before the Congress. And he refused to answer that question. He just wouldn't answer that question. And so, it calls into question all of his conduct. And this is the guy, right? This is the guy who's in charge of the FBI, which has awesome responsibilities. And yet here he is flying off the handle.
On that point, I mean, it is a truism that focus is necessarily zero sum. It's one of the reasons that, the ballroom and the reflecting pool are so striking with the President of the United States. I mean, here we have reporting that the FBI has launched a criminal leak investigation focusing on the Atlantic magazine article that you cited today in your testimony about him being drunk and difficult to reach. Today, we also get from the Wall Street Journal confirmation they have actually received grand jury subpoenas that are related to a February 23rd article that reported that General Dan Kane, the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, others at Pentagon warned the president about the risks of an extended military campaign against Iran. Of course, those warnings now looking quite prescient. Those are two leak investigations. And then I want to play for you interview with the FBI agent who was fired very early in the tenure here, Agent Driscoll, about what he said the priorities were for Kash Patel. And then on the other side, if you could tell us, what does this do to the actual FBI doing the job it's supposed to do? Take a listen.
First question was softball, and then it got worse. Who'd you vote for? When did you start supporting President Trump? Didn't answer that one either. Then he asked me, do I agree that the agents who stormed Mar-a-Lago, his words not mine, should be held accountable? I did answer that one with an absolute no. He's like, okay, just tell me if you voted for a Democrat in the last 5 elections. This conversation's over, and conclude the phone call.
Paul Ingrassia, who was put in the position there by the Trump administration, a political appointee. But I wonder if you worry that the FBI isn't focused on the things that do matter, that it's important for the FBI to do.
Well, exactly. Look, this was a budget hearing, and I made the point to Director Patel that he was in front of the committee asking for more taxpayer money for the FBI, at the same time that he is wasting taxpayer money on all these political witch hunts. And you just mentioned a number of them, wasting taxpayer money by jetting himself and his girlfriend around the world, instead of focusing on violent crime. I also raised the issue of the diversion of FBI resources away from going after real criminals to participating in, locking up so many immigrants who the DHS has admitted overwhelmingly do not pose a public risk. So taking resources away from fighting hardened criminals to locking up people who overwhelmingly pose no public risk. And by the way, he also fired people at the FBI just a few weeks ago who were part of the anti-espionage unit that are experts on Iran. Now, even in that hearing, Chris, he flip-flopped in his answers. If you look at his answer to Senator Coons, he said, no, that never happened. And when I followed up with him, he began to hem and haw and hedge. And this is the FBI director who's supposedly entrusted to look out for, the country's safety and protection.
Yeah, that point there, there's a back and forth where you were asking whether it was related to essentially this kind of payback for people that have worked on any investigations in the president. He was sort of non-committal on that. But these are people with serious expertise on Iran, and we know that they've been fired from the Bureau. Senator Chris Van Hollen, thanks for your time tonight.